Alright, next service I'm going to install is DNS. On my Windows 2003 server, I am going to log in, and I'm going to configure DNS. We do that the same as we do DHCP. We go to Settings, Control Panel, Add Remove Programs, and we go to Windows Components. And we go to the exact same place that DHCP was listed, but we select DNS. So we scroll down through the list under Networking Services. We select the Details option button, and we check DNS, Domain Name System. Hit OK. And then Next. And that will install the DNS system. And it's going to prompt us for the CD. Now, luckily we have the CD installed, so we can just choose the option if you hit the down arrow, but make sure at the very end it says I386, and then hit retry, and then it should copy, and then it prompts you for it again. I386, and it should copy. It'll prompt you a couple times to do that. Now that the wizard is done copying files, we can hit finish, and we can close out of these windows and check out our DNS servers that we installed. And that's under Administrator Tools. We have DHCP, and right at the bottom we have DNS. And this looks very similar to the DHCP screen, but it looks like DNS. So now we have the server 01. It's configured as a DNS server. And I want to go up and select the View tab and check the Advanced option, because this is going to show me some advanced views. One of them being cached lookups. And here are my root servers. Now my root server is nothing listed here, but if I right-click on my server and click Properties, so I'm right-clicking on my server name, selecting Properties, it's going to show me root hints. See this list? A.rootservers.net, B.root, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Do you see them all?
Yep.
These are all pre-configured, and these IP addresses of the root servers rarely, ever have changed. Occasionally, there is a root server in here that they will remove, they will delete or decommission. So you could go in here and remove it. But not having it in here doesn't cause too many problems. So you're usually good. These root server IP addresses came off of the CD that we had, right? The Windows 2003 CD. Windows 2003. How old is it? 2003. So it's been 7 years since these, probably 8 years, since these IP addresses have been updated. So more than likely, these IP addresses could be old. So there is methods where you can actually go and verify. You can look at the official root servers that exist today and verify that these are the same ones. So if you want to, you can remove all of these and copy them from another server if you wanted to. So you have to type the IP address of the new server to copy root hints from. Let's just let's copy the new ones from this first one. Let's assume that the A root server IP address has not changed. So let's see if we can get it from them. Oh, it updated them. So I typed in the A root server IP address, and look, it added more IP addresses. So I got an update. Did you guys all find your updates? So all I do is hit OK on this. And now we have updated root servers, and we are a caching DNS server, meaning clients will request information from this DNS server, and this DNS server will go out to the internet and find the answers. It will go out to those root servers and collect the information that it needs to answer the workstation. So how do we set up our workstation to use this server? Well, we can do it from the command line just to test to make sure that we're doing it right. before we go and make changes to a bunch of other settings like DHCP, because that's how our workstation is getting an IP address, right? But before we do that, let's just go to the workstation and let's verify that this is working. So I'm at the command line at my workstation, and if I type the command, I'm going to clear my screen here. If I type the command ipconfig/all, I can see that I'm using 172.16.1.1. I'm using my gateway as my DNS server. Okay, well that's what we're going to have to change. But before we do that, we're going to test it with the nslookup command. So we're going to use the nslookup command and hit enter. So right away it says you're using Smoothwall, your firewall router, as your DNS server, which is fine because there is a DNS server running on there. But we want to change it and use our Windows 2003 server as the DNS server. So we're going to type the command server space, and then we're going to type in the IP address of the server we want to use, 172.16.1.10. And it says, okay, you're now using 172.16.1.10. So now we can type in an IP address of something we want to look up. Well, let's look up cisco.com. So if I type in cisco.com and enter, and it says cisco.com has an IP address of 198.133.219.25. Now let's go see what's changed on our server, because we were able to resolve that name using our Windows 2003 server. Let's go take a look at the Windows 2003 server and see if it has anything under cache lookups. I'm going to click on cache lookups and hit the F5 key to refresh. Click under root and you'll see a .com folder. Do you see that? Select the .com, and in there you see what? Cisco, which we just looked up, right? No other lookups are in there. Click on Cisco and we see, oh, an NS1 and NS2 for Cisco. These are the servers that are responsible for the cisco.com domain. This is what Cisco uses. These two servers are what Cisco uses to maintain their DNS records. In there, we also see a host record for 198.133.219.25. So if you want to try it again, go back to the command prompt of your Windows XP, and since we're still using our Windows 2003 server in the nslookup utility, try to type in another domain name. Just make one up. Not make one up, but come up with one on your own. I'm going to come up with swtc.edu. Oh, it says 205.213.16.71. Or I can do www.swtc.edu. And it gives me the same address. Or I can type in portal.swtc.edu. It gives me another IP address. So I typed in a couple of them for the same swtc edu. So now I should be able to go back to my Windows 2003 server, select root, and hit F5 to refresh, and there's my EDUs. swtc edu, there's my portal, and there's my www. There are the two IP addresses that my DNS server had to go look up. And you can see the DNS server for Southwest Tech is whom? Who's in charge of Southwest Tech's domain? dns.uwmadison.wisnet.net. So they had to resolve those names. So here's my .net. Here's my wisnet.net. Wisnet.net is resolved by here. So it had to look up a lot of things to find an actual IP address to get the result of my swtc.edu. That's why when I type this first command at my workstation, when I type this first one, swtc.edu, it took a while, if you remember. You can rewind this video if you want to later, but it took a second for it to give me an answer. It's because it had to look up multiple and name servers IP addresses first before it could figure out the actual IP address of the swtc.edu host. And that's DNS in a little nutshell.